Okay, welcome back to Scouching's 2022 NHL Draft recaps. Today we're looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, the Pittsburgh Penguins weren't particularly busy, but I think they did kind of all right considering the draft capital that they were given. At 21, they drafted Owen Pickering. Now, I do really like Owen Pickering's potential. He has a long way to go before I think he hits that potential, but you don't see guys that big and that skilled very often playing defense. He's grown a lot in the last few years, so I absolutely buy the argument that he has some more growing to do to sort of get more comfortable in that frame. But I also look at him and go, at 21, like, it's a bit of a reach, I would say, but not that much. Like, I was not surprised to see him go at 21. I was surprised to see him go to Pittsburgh. So it will be interesting to see what they think they can get out of him. I mean, they have Chris Letang there, and if you want sort of a guy that he can mentor now, I would definitely see the matchup there. So we'll see what happens with Pickering, because I think his game more offensively is more impressive than his defensive game right now. But if he fills out and gets a bit stronger, then I definitely think that could improve. But the hands and the creativity offensively are definitely there. And he produced pretty well for a guy that wasn't on the best team in the WHL this year. So I'll be hopeful that as Swift Current improves over the next little while, that Pickering's point production continues to get better and just his level of comfort gets better. So I really like that pick at 21 for them. Maybe not exactly the guy that I would have targeted, but I do like Pickering in that slot. At 118th, they took Sergey Murashov, who is another one of these goaltenders that I probably would have targeted in this year's draft. He stops a lot of pucks over in the Russian Junior League. He has stopped pucks for a number of seasons over the last few years in Russia. He also played a lot of the season with Lokomotiv Yaroslavl's worst MHL junior team and saved a lot of pucks and really kept them in a lot of games. So I think, you know what? If you're going to swing on a goalie in the mid-rounds, Murashov would have been a guy that I would have easily considered. So good for them for picking him up as well. At 150, they picked Zam Plot. I watched Zam Plot off and on during the year, and he's very, very young for the draft, which is good. But I just didn't see a whole lot out of him. He kind of reminded me of like Nicholas Moldenhauer, but like a step below him. Smart, but not super quick or skilled. A little undersized as well. But at 150, you stash him in college, see where he goes. But, he was very productive in high school this year. Pretty good in the USHL as well. I like Zam Plot, kinda. He was on my watch list for a little while this year. But just other guys kind of pushed him down the board, but perfectly acceptable in this range. At 167, they drafted Nolan Collins, who I've seen a little bit of over the course of the year. Was kind of excited to see him at the U18s this year, and he didn't really blow me away. I don't know. It's a late-round CHL pick. We'll see where he goes. I don't really have anything super negative or positive. There's a bit of skill that I've seen out of Collins. He can be physical at times. But when I was watching him after the draft, there wasn't a ton that I felt like I was missing that really deserved to be putting him on my list. They took Luke Devlin at 182. I don't know. Again, St. Andrews College, I know their hockey team is usually pretty good. I look for guys that score a ton on that team before really getting behind them. Like, I look at guys like Ryan O'Connell in years past. I think Warren Fogle is the only St. Andrews guy that really sort of stands out, and he was obliterating Canadian high school hockey at that age. But I watched Luke Devlin. Like, the first thing that comes out to me, he's slow, but he's big, not really skilled. I watched him in the USHL as well for a little bit. I don't know. I didn't see much there, but he's big. So as I've said a bunch of times before, there's no guarantee that this guy can't be an NHL player, but based on what I saw with Luke Devlin, there's a long way to go. So again, see where he is in 3 or 4 years and call it. So for Pittsburgh, I'm going to give them a 2C. Again, kind of in the middle of the pack based on the value of picks that they had. Maybe closer to a 2D, but I definitely didn't like their draft class as much as Anaheim and Vancouver, but Pickering could be a really, really good pickup. I really like the Sergey Murashov pickup, and Zam Plot in that range could be an interesting one as well. Considering they had one pick in the top 100, and the next one after that was Sergey Murashov, I'll give that a 2. And even though I don't like Luke Devlin or Nolan Collins really that much, maybe that pushes them down to a 2D. Again, similar to Winnipeg, it's not quite a 1D for them, like a 1C-. I'd say Pittsburgh's sort of like a 2C-, but I feel like if Pittsburgh had more picks in the first 2 rounds and they went more in that Owen Pickering alley, they would have done quite well. So a weak 2C, but they're right. They're right in there. I would say. Actually, after I stopped hitting record, I want to just amend things a little bit. I'm gonna put the Pittsburgh Penguins down at a 2D. I mean, I think about them relative to Dallas and Ottawa's draft classes. I think it's like a 2D minus. I still think Owen Pickering on his own puts them in the 2 category. And I don't think they punted as many picks as the Arizona Coyotes did. So we'll put them in the 2D category and amend things very quickly at the end. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow for Vegas.